The Chinese interpretation is not the only thing unusual about the public hearing on the Chinatown Redevelopment Plan. The City Council and the Board of Directors of the Community Redevelopment Agency were meeting in joint session to conduct the public hearing. The whole thing played to a packed house. The Chinatown Redevelopment Plan has been in the works for several years now, but in spite of the fact that there's been broad-based public involvement in its development, the plan still draws criticism, not only because of the changes it will bring about, but the way the CRA plans to implement it.
CRA has threatened that unless Chinatown approves this plan, all service monies will be lost. Asian Americans for Equality have considered its desires for redevelopment, and we have also considered the consequences of Chinatown losing its NSA status in formulating our opposition to the redevelopment plan. We have decided that this plan would pose a great threat to the community and must be opposed since it lacks any of the guarantees that the community would be benefited by it.
The Chinatown Redevelopment Plan involves slightly more than 300 acres, an area with 6,500 people living in it. While there's a lot of new construction in Chinatown these days, the CRA says there are pockets of blight. But instead of the approach taken in other urban renewal projects, there will be no large-scale clearing operations. The CRA says rehabilitation will be done on a selective basis, with the first priority being housing for low and moderate income families and senior citizens. Later phases of the plan would involve light industrial development, commercial areas, and public facilities. The total price tag for the Chinatown redevelopment program comes to more than $75 million. In the first phase, the city would ask the federal government for $10 million in money to get a certain number of projects underway. In Chinatown, Mike Botula reporting for News at 10.
計劃㗎，但係佢覺得現在 CRA 貢獻嗰個計劃咧冇反映到經濟社會所以人情所有嘅需要，所以佢
business community and assisting small business through commercial project area committee priorities was carried out. 21,000 in implementation in the redevelopment program. The redevelopment plan was modified.
And this is an estimation that was stated in the transportation.
In the state law that permit a waiver of this responsibility.
The Environmental Impact Report, EIR, of the redevelopment plan makes an optimistic projection that a maximum net increase of 1,865 dwelling units may result from the redevelopment activities. It fails, however, to project how many and whether there will be an increase or decrease in the number of affordable dwelling units for senior citizens and low-income people.
Existing jobs. Next, preserving. We project a housing rehabilitation of over 600 dwellings, commercial development of approximately 1 million square feet, light industrial development. We have projected costs and revenues for the project and expect significant financial support for the project from tax.
And for other community needs to be built in Chinatown. And redevelopment is needed to underwrite the cost of land for these needs, to meet these needs.
of the money the CRA uses to improve these areas comes from the property owners, taxpayer paid. We voted for Proposition.
This morning is to draw your attention to the fact that 3 blocks south of Sunset Boulevard have been included in the proposed project boundaries of the Chinatown Redevelopment Plan. We feel that this area should be excluded from for the following reasons. This area is presently a part of the Los Angeles Central City Plan, adopted after much study in 1974. The reasons for including of the area.
Oppose redevelopment of Chinatown, but we do oppose this present plan. The community needs redevelopment because we need money for housing, services, better traffic circulation systems, expansion of Kessler School, for the library, for recreational space, and we also need redevelopment in order to be declared a neighborhood strategy area. And I guess a point to make about Chinatown is that we need redevelopment in Chinatown, not because it's economically a depressed area, but because Chinatown is in a period of rapid commercial development. And this growth has resulted in driving land prices up so high that it's unfeasible for community services, and has been a take it or leave it position. We're given a choice of either supporting the plan as proposed by CRA or having none at all. Some of the people in the audience here today support the plan, not because the plan is responsive to community needs, but because it's the only plan that CRA has offered. They support the plan because it would give Chinatown a neighborhood strategy area status and thus be eligible for community block grant funds.
中咧，佢好多人係贊成呢個計劃咧，唔係話佢哋真係歡喜呢個計劃嘅。不過意思咧，如果冇呢個計劃咧，佢哋就會失咗所有幫助社會人民嗰啲老人啊，嗰啲 social services 嘅錢。
Mr. Jack Lau.
I mean, there's a critical need for better and more housing for senior citizens and low and moderate income families. And although housing is a stated priority, the solutions advocated by the redevelopment plan fail to even attempt to provide for the needs of those presently living in the community, especially the low-income families. Why do we say this? Let's look at what the plan actually says. Project area available to low-income and senior citizens will in fact decrease rather than increase as a result of redevelopment. Okay, this fear is based on the following premises. First of all, the plan calls for the removal of 287 units. Since the units to be removed will be dilapidated and unfit or inappropriate for rehabilitation, there are clearly units of the low-income people. Although the plan calls for the construction of replacement housing within 4 years following the removal of the units, it fails to provide a specific schedule when such replacement housing will be built.
Safety needs of the community. The plan proposes to increase the traffic flow and make it more hazardous for pedestrians. Even the Transportation Department's response of 2 years ago to the environmental impact report showed the recognition that redevelopment would cause massive traffic problems, and it would cause massive traffic problems. Redevelopment would create such problems as well as intensify the present problems. And it recognized that unless an area-wide improvements are made now and not on a piecemeal basis, that there will be severe adverse impacts in the community. In addition, redevelopment will cause a great increase in the amount of traffic to over 47,000 additional commuter traffic away from Chinatown, especially from the residential areas. Currently, there
Chinatown redevelopment epic. The Chinese interpretation is not the only thing unusual about the public hearing on the Chinatown Redevelopment Plan. The City Council and the Board of Directors of the Community Redevelopment Agency were meeting in joint session to conduct the public hearing. Start again. Forgot to continue.